Alright, today we're going to be doing some crate challenge with triple nod air. This deck has not been good for, well, let's see, the latest patch is about 2 years old now, and it hasn't been good for like 3 patches since then. So, maybe like 2 years, maybe like 3 years. This deck was good maybe like 3 years ago. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Obviously, keeping Shade alive is going to be something of a priority. Shade is a high value unit. It's a burst unit. It's kind of like a bad Orca. Is it a bad Orca? Like, theoretically, it feels like it should maybe be better, but... Remember when we were close to quitting due to this deck? I was never close to quitting due to this deck, but definitely I know people who boycott the game. I know people who boycott the game because of this deck. When Shade was 40 cost and just like refused to play until they nerfed it. It definitely was, you know, I mean, Shade was the most overpowered unit the game has ever seen. So I can definitely understand why people were upset about it. Suzaku basically did quit the game, yeah. Suzaku, like, this was the final straw for Suzaku. He didn't have level 15 Phantom. Just to be clear, he didn't have a problem with Shade being overpowered. That wasn't actually his issue. Suzaku's issue with the game was that he could not win Phantom mirrors because his Phantom was underleveled. And that is what made him quit. He was like, yeah, my Phantom is underleveled. I lose Phantom mirrors because my Phantom is underleveled, so I can't bother to play anymore. That was Suzaku's issue with the game. So yeah, that's pretty much the final thing that happened that made Suzaku quit Rivals. Was the 40 cost Shade. Well, no, it was the fact that his Phantom was underleveled. It wasn't the 40 cost Shade. He didn't care about that part. I don't even know, like, I mean, this guy's going to be double halve Inferno. That's just, like, pretty hard to beat in general. I do have a Phantom. In fact, I should probably... Theoretically, when I saw the Inferno, I should have made another Harvester, because the person who wins the Phantom mirror is the one with more Phantoms, which is the person with more money. But he doesn't seem to have Phantom. Oh, he does have Phantom. Alright, that's going to be a little awkward. That is going to be somewhat unfortunate. What do I do here? I need a Venom and a Shade. Okay, I'll make a Venom. Oh, he bumped me. Strong Catalyst Missile. Shade giving out, as always. More bikes are coming. Bring the Shade down here. I think we got him. Turns out that having 2 Harvesters is actually like kind of a downside a lot of the time. Weird that. Mission accomplished. YouTube recommended a video to you from some jabroni called Blade. Yeah, I actually get recommendations. I get recommended my own YouTube videos, which I think is a bit weird. YouTube's like, hey, we think you'd like this video from Blade. And I'm like, I think I've already seen it. I think I was there. But thanks, YouTube. What's up, Jamie? Have you time travel? I don't know. Look outside the window. What does it look like? Oh, actually, that's Scotland, so we won't be able to tell the difference. Now, of course, going air is pretty bad against GDI. This is a classic deck that's like a really good example of something that's terrible versus GDI. But the format was so nod biased that you could just play a deck that was bad versus GDI and still win because nod was so much better. Very similar to the mutant deck we have at the moment. You know that like there's like mutant laser drone deck. That is a very good example of a deck that like should be weak to GDI, but because GDI sucks, you can just play a deck that's bad against GDI. This deck is actually, I mean, this deck isn't even overpowered, so this deck you can't just be bad versus GDI and get away with it. But yeah, when the deck was originally very popular, it was in a meta game where the deck was just so much more powerful than GDI that you could get away with being bad against GDI. How long until Jordan realizes he's got dogs AFKing over there? Because those guys are... That's a whole pop cap, my guy, that you just have idling. That's a pretty big cost. Oh, hello. That's a hammerhead. That's kind of scary. Sure. I see what you're doing. I'm okay with it. If you want to sacrifice an Orca to eat a volley, that's A-okay by me. Now watch this, chat. We're gonna EMP. Ah, nuts! I was gonna try and EMP as Hammerhead. We kind of EMP'd the Hammerhead. That kind of happened because the thing decloaked. But it decloaked because he shot it, which wasn't really what I was going for. I was going for move it on pad, decloak value. This could be a reasonable time to obelisk, I suppose. Shoot this pit bull, it's giving me some problems. And we're done. He'd actually had those dogs on my harvester for the entire game, which is real awkward.
3, 2, 1. New objective available.
Hannah. Okay.
Unit ready.
Kane lives. If that last guy had just made a lot more pit bulls, that would have been way harder to beat than what he actually did. Also, I don't think my deck... Would that be Sling? I guess it's like Sling kind of loses to Shade. I think Shade being kind of weak right now is really bad for the metagame because it means there's way more Slingshot around. I don't know about you, YouTubers, but I despise the Slingshot. I hate the Slingshot with every fiber of my being. He actually not capping me, or is like incidental. I don't want to make a Shade to fight goddamn dogs. That feels like a pretty big waste. I hope he doesn't have a Slinger. He has the it's Pitbull again at the moment. So that's good. Oh, this guy knows. This guy knows how to counter Nod air units. And it's just making a fuck ton of pit bulls. Okay, I'm kind of doing it. Shade's still alive. Feels good, man. Shade not as good against infantry as Orca. Oh, that's a hammer. Why has everyone got a hammerhead? Got 2 opponents in a row with the mighty head of hammer. Kind of a problematic unit for me. Alright, we got him. I think I can EMP this? Nope. Okay. The EMP on this unit is like truly abysmal, right? Like like it's so awkward to use, and it often just like misfires or doesn't hit what you expect it to. Because you're like, oh well, the AMP is only 1 tile radius, and what actually happened was it went off like when it was half in the tile, so it doesn't happen, doesn't work, and you're like, what? Very confusing. This seems like another good time for an obelisk. I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with my choice of obelisk. It seems like it's pretty good. Like Pitbull is my scariest enemy, and then obelisk is pretty good against Pitbull. So obelisk also quite good against other units my opponents are making, such as Shock Trooper. All right, bike spam is OP. It's funny how like it's so obviously OP, and we're like 2 years into bike spam being OP. That's kind of gross, right? Just make bikes, man. Just make bikes. And it's just like we never get changes, so bike spam is just going to be OP forever.
Establishing battlefield control.
Hammer al Zaman.
3, 2, 1. New objective received.
New objective received. I wonder what the objective is. They didn't really say what the objective was. They said new objective received, but they didn't really give me a good indication of what my objective was. Now, my opponent is a human being playing Nod, so that means they're going to have Chemical Buggy in their deck. Chemical Buggy plus Laser, pretty potent combination. pretty good against most things.
What's needed? What's more up to kill the unbelievers?
These bikes are the preemptive bikes that you see people make. They make bikes first, so that when they make their chemical buggy, they already have some bikes. That seems to be the logic that people work on these days.
Unit offline. Unit offline.
Biker ready to roll. Launchers will bust their door. Further launchers will bust.
Stop me. Militia here.
Oh, what a surprise! A chemical buggy? I never would have seen that coming. That is actually a shocking turn of events for me. I thought for sure it was not going to be chemical buggy.
Gonna brain 'em. Your command. Gonna brain 'em. Gonna brain 'em. Missiles will smash 'em.
Unit offline.
Ready for the biker roll. Launchers will advancing.
A boost? I don't really think you should really ever boost bikes. Like, not never, because like you need to boost bikes sometimes to kill light air. But basically, you should never boost bikes. That's like a pretty weak play. I also think he like overly committed to the bikes, right? Because the thing is, you go like people who have you know, in this theory of make a bike unit, so you have a bike when you make your chemical buggy. You're supposed to make the bike, then make lasers when the opponent makes bikes, and then you can make your chemical buggy, which obviously wins against enemy lasers or enemy infantry. You're not supposed to just spam bikes and get into a bike mirror and then make a chemical buggy in the middle of a bike mirror, because that's terrible. Because a chemical buggy in the middle of a bike mirror doesn't do anything. That's a dead unit. So yeah, a slight misplay on the bike plan there. Like, he made the chemical buggy, but then I only had one militant and a bunch of bikes, so the chemical buggy was utterly worthless. So yeah, kind of misunderstood the nature of the game plan there.
Unit offline. Unit ready. Unit offline.
I should probably get a shade. This would be an okay time for an obelisk, but not great because it's way worse against bikes than Pitbull. Also, it's quite expensive, like, it would cost me all my remaining money. But, you know, we can make a little obelisk just to let him know. Just a little, you know, at the end of the game, hey, I have one of these. It's like when you win a game of cards and you show your opponent your hand. And you're like, by the way, even though I've just beaten you, I also had all of these available to beat you even more.
3, 2, 1. New objective available.
There's also, like, going back to the still had all these and why do people do it. If you're, like, losing a card game, a lot of the time you'll have had several turns where you were unable to really mount an effective game plan. So of course your opponent is going to have a bunch of stuff left over, because they're not forced to use anything. Like, because they're winning for ages, unless you just, like, concede quite early on, when it's not really clear that you're dead. But if you've got to a point where you're clearly dead in a card game, a lot of the time your opponent is going to have resources left over. Like, very obviously. I think he's going to change his game plan this time after what happened last time. We're going to go straight into the chuggy. No, bikes again. Gotta have those bikes, man. Gotta have them ready to go. I should have just done bikes, like I did last time. Like, it was pretty good last time. I should have just done the same thing again. Because now I'm going laser, which is terrible, because he's going to make a chemical buggy. So yeah, this is pretty dumb. Except he didn't make the chemical buggy. Oh, there it is.
Unit offline. Unit ready. Unit offline. Unit nuclear missile launched. Unit ready.
Now he's making the lasers, what he should have done first missile.
Unit offline.
Where's the chuggy though? There we go.
Offline.
That's fundamentally misunderstanding the concept of chuggy laser. You're supposed to put the two together. It's not chuggies then lasers, it's chuggy and laser at the same time.
Unit offline.
Still had all these. Still got this obelisk spare. Oh shit! I moved my shade by accident. Oh my god! I keep misclicking this shade. Oh, awkward, awkward. Some bad misclicks, man. There's some bad misclicks. Alright, still had all these. The Nod campaign had toxin soldiers. Interesting. I don't remember that at all.
3, 2, 1. New mission received.
Hannah again.
Fighters, arm up.
Very exciting.
Harvest
Out of stock. Do you mean it was on cooldown? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be out of stock. There shouldn't be a stock of Kane lives emotes on the stream.
Kill them all.
There is a cooldown though, so people can't spam them.
Your command.
Yo, congrats, Jamie. My missing Barrett Dur pieces are
No stopping.
hopefully getting shipped soon.
Lasers, we're ready to serve. Your command. Our lasers will militia. Take your position.
Oh, Hannah is trying to pop cap me. Oh, Hannah, no.
As he desires.
That's not very friendly. Why you gotta be that way? Here I thought we could be friends, and now it turns out that you're a big old bag of dicks. So no friendship for us.
Stop it. Your command.
Unit offline.
Laser squad, ready for anything. Laser squad.
Rip. Dance a little too close to the sun being flamers in this case. Oh, I was close. Almost missed it again. It's really hard to block on PC. I know I say this a lot, but I really feel like it's true. Maybe I'm just terrible at blocking. Although I've had other people say the same thing, like when they try on PC, they're like, wait, why didn't my block work? So I don't think it's just my fault, but who knows? Maybe it is just my fault.
Unit offline. Unit offline.
Ready to roll.
Unit ready.
Ready to serve. Gonna honor to the brother. Your command.
Unit ready.
Let's honor to your command. Ready to serve.
Should I make a phantom? Feels a bit underwhelming. Quite expensive to fight a single shade. He's made a phantom, that's rude.
Unit offline.
Attack boys, ready to venom.
Lasers move for the brother.
Your command. Your command. Kill boy missiles.
Unit ready.
For the brother.
Venom revving the engine.
We're in trouble.
Venom
Taking foul.
ready to venom. Your command.
Unit offline.
Ready to roll. Launches will bust their tearing that. You're gonna
Unit
I
offline.
tried to select that venom twice during that fight.
Unit ready.
Both times I just missed it.
Your command. Launches will bust their doyle. Launches will bust their doyle. Loiker advancing.
Do I have this?
Online.
Rolling out.
Unit ready.
That should have been a venom in the last unit. I don't think it'll matter, but should have been a venom.
Unit offline. Objective.
Can't give him a Kane lives either.
3, 2, 1. New objective received.
The harvest.
I play against the Jordanian quite often.
Unit ready.
Oh, Kane lives.
Glory to Nod!
Unit ready.
Militia here. Laser squad. What's needed?
I find the opening like of War Factory versus Barracks incredibly tedious. I don't know why it is. I just find it very boring.
Unit ready.
The whole like trying to maneuver lasers versus dogs or wheels, I just can't be bothered with it. Like I often tech switch quickly, like sooner than I should, because I just can't be bothered to do the do this like early game interaction. Like I'm just gonna make some bikes because I just can't be bothered with lasers versus wheels.
Unit offline.
Don't mind a rifle mirror, but for some reason when it's War Factory versus Barracks, I find it very boring.
Rubber. You're gonna brain him. Loiker ready to roll. Missiles will smash him.
I know Alicia used to hate Barracks mirrors. She got super annoyed about them and was like, this is the worst thing ever, like rifle mirror is just the most boring thing in the game.
Missile launched.
Your command. Loiker rolling out.
Unit offline.
Definitely get my Venom to help out in this fight. Venom has pretty good vehicle damage. Like if he's gonna run the flamers around like this, I should get the Venom to do something.
Your command, gonna brain him.
Unit offline.
Burning rubber.
Unit ready.
Militia,
No problem. Launchers will bust their dial. Striker rolling out.
what's
Venom is Venom. Revving the engine.
It's expensive to get a Phantom just to fight like that one Venom. I guess it's just the idea of having the like air denial for the future. If you get the Phantom, then you get the flamers. But it's like a bit late now, right? The game's already over and the Phantom's dead. So that didn't really work out. Still had this. Lose. I actually don't know where Kane lives is. Is it a greeting? One of the greetings, right?
One. New objective available.
position?
You could also use the NVIDIA camera thing to effectively green screen without a green screen.
Militia here. We're ready to serve. What's needed? Destroy the GDI.
I don't think I'm short. Like I don't think 5'8" is short, but I wouldn't describe it as tall. My friend James is like 6'2" or something. He's pretty fucking tall. Yeah, like again, I just can't be bothered. Can't be bothered with this dog business. I don't think you should really play dogs in a tech deck. Like if you're going blind double half, I think dogs are pretty bad opener. You don't want to be down a pop cap and trying to use dogs. That's like not a good spot to be in.
Unit offline.
Revving for Kane. Okay, right. Your command.
His will moves with us.
Nuclear weapon launched.
Ventilator revving.
Come on.
Unit ready.
Lasers charged. Laser squad ready. What's needed? Laser squad. Power and precision. We'll hit
Your command. Striker rolling out. Right, launch him.
for the brother.
If you're double half, you're low on power, right? Like your unit's power level is low. Oh, sorry, you're low on pop cap, so your unit's power level needs to compensate. The other way of thinking about it is like you just want to spend as little as possible before tech, so 10 cost is reasonable. Now, I guess the correct option here was actually not Shade at all, right? It was Obelisk. Although, does Shade beat Sandy? I feel like because of the EMP, Shade can take out Sandy quite easily.
Rolling thunder. Time for some shock therapy.
Alright, that didn't quite kill it. Yeah, okay, that was savage. I definitely should have just Obelisk. That's for sure. We'll get some units and then we'll Obelisk the next tech unit that comes out.
Unit offline. Unit ready. Unit offline.
Alright, well, no tech units, Obelisk. Oh, there we go. There's Sandy.
Missile cancelled.
Oh shit, that survives an Obelisk shot? I didn't know that.
I'll show you the light.
Nuclear warhead launched.
I'm pretty glad I played Kane. There's been a lot of times when Kane was the one.
Base destroyed. 3, 2, 1. New mission received.
Time to harvest.
Building online. Unit ready.
Shit. You can't be opening lasers, man. It's like 2023. Opening lasers hasn't been a respectable choice since like 2019.
Unit ready.
Henty looks like a fake Tom Hardy. It's not the worst fake to look like, I guess.
Building online.
For Kane.
Unit offline.
Let's cast. Bring them to their knees. Let's go. Let's go.
Unit ready.
Bring lasers for the Brotherhood. Rolling thunder.
Unit offline. Unit ready.
Laser squad. How'd you see me? His whip. Lasers. Just bring them. Awaiting order. Your command. Shade blending in.
Oh shit. How are you going to defeat the mighty S-Hade?
Moving the shade.
That's the real question.
With the unbelievers.
Look, just a cloud.
This Shade is just slapping, man. Taking names. Oh, the Banshee. Oh, friend.
Missile launched.
It's so sad when people like make Banshee as though it's a legitimate choice. I'll tell you what though, when I was doing the Boner Jams grind, a Banshee, insane unit, absolutely insane. When Banshee is like +4, oh, it's absolutely ridiculous unit, it's so strong. It's like 60 cost Banshee, but it costs 30, it's crazy. This is the kind of deck that Banshee was really supposed to be good against, right? Like when it was changed to 30, this was the idea. This is what they had in mind. They wanted Banshee to be able to be a light, an anti-air unit. Like a light anti-air unit. It's just so bad. It's just such a bad unit. Maybe Banshee would be better if things like Venom were way more popular. Like maybe we'd see a lot more Banshee then, I don't know.
Defense online. Unit ready. Unit offline. Unit ready. Warning. Enemy catalyst missile incoming.
Oh, Jade.
Unit offline. Defense launch missile launch.
Oh, Jade.
You are victorious. 3, 2, 1. New objective received.
Carefully now.
Building online.
Position.
Stealth Tank was very good, yeah. That was a very controversial nerf, the Stealth Tank nerf.
Unit ready.
We're ready. Let's go. What's needed? Militia brothers, destroy the Jeep. What's needed?
Really see a lot less Stealth Tank, but I mean it does make sense, like its role is to one-shot air units really. It really got gutted on its anti-vehicle potential.
Militia, destroy the
Your missiles will
What's needed?
It's probably fine though.
kill the Boyka rolling out. No one just
Taking position.
It could probably like you could probably make Stealth Tank cheaper now, right? Like that would probably be fine. I think if Stealth Tank cost like 90 or 80, that might be fine. Yeah, exactly, Jeffrey. Exactly that.
Building online.
Taking position. Bring it, militia. Let's go. Let's go. Avenge Port Kane.
Unit offline.
Already finished the tib. So now we're doing some crate challenge.
How'd you see me? Awaiting orders. Sounds elect moving the ship. We're ready to defend. No stopping. Shade with the unmoved. Lurking in the shade. Resistance is futile.
Unit offline. Unit ready. Unit offline.
We're ready to
honor to the
Unit ready.
light rezzing for your command.
Defense online.
Frob Docs. Let's go.
Fire the obelisk!
Love a Frob Doc. Wait, was that game 10? That was my final boss? The guy playing Kane Giga. Kane Giga, by the way, not great. I'll be honest with you. I think Giga Cannon quite good with Oksana. That is my humble opinion. So yeah, obviously that's not gospel. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, in my opinion, Oksana slightly better than all the other commanders with Giga Cannon. Just like a tiny bit. Just like maybe, I don't know, 28,000%. Just a small amount. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed some triple nod air crate challenge. Still got 10-0, even though the deck is quite weak now. It is again, like I was saying about how you can play a deck that kind of targets nod because GDI sucks. And like, almost all my opponents are nod, right? I played 7 out of 10 nod, so 70% of my opponents are nod. So yeah, you can kind of just target nod because nod is so much more popular at the moment because it's better. And as long as your deck can still beat GDI, which to be fair, this one not great, but Kane helped a lot. As long as you can still beat GDI, you know. Pretty good deck. I mean, it's not, don't play it, but it is an option. Anyway, the theory stands. I think the Laser Drone Mutant is a much better example of a deck that should be weak to GDI, but can just beat GDI because nod is much better. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.